You hate outages. They're probably your worst nightmare. Today, IT executives will only be able to find peace of mind if there's a disaster recovery solution that manages outages, prevents downtime, and helps them maintain compliance. But there's a problem. Traditional disaster recovery solutions are often piecemeal and require owning or leasing a secondary site, which comes with a large price tag and unnecessary administrative overhead. It doesn't have to be this way. Azure Site Recovery is a built-in disaster recovery solution. It orchestrates and manages DR for your Azure virtual machines, on-premises virtual machines, or physical servers. Because we understand DR is of critical importance, it needs to be simple and cost-effective. With Azure Site Recovery, there is no need to purchase additional hardware or hire more IT personnel for disaster recovery. Only pay for the compute resources you spin up in Azure in the event of a DR drill or a real disaster. With Azure Site Recovery, you can painlessly replicate your applications and data to a different Azure region, all from the Azure portal. You can also arrange the right failover sequence for your complex applications, such as SAP and SharePoint, with a single click using recovery plans. Azure Site Recovery makes managing your compliance drills oh so easy. Test your disaster recovery plans without impacting end users. Perform DR drills as many times as you want without affecting your production applications. Worried about scaling? Don't be. Azure Site Recovery can be scaled to as many applications as needed. With best-in-class recovery point objective, your data loss in case of a disaster will be as low as a few seconds to single-digit minutes. Also, with best-in-class recovery time objective, it takes as low as 30 minutes to complete a recovery of complex applications such as SAP and SharePoint. Reduce cost, complexity, and recovery time. Breathe easy with Azure Site Recovery.
Well, when we talk about IT data center or network operation center, so being as IT professional, we know that there are a lot of stuff needs to do for buttery smooth 24/7 IT operations. So generally we consider quality of service in all aspects, performance optimization, which include compute, storage, network, and all business critical applications. Furthermore, monitoring IT resources and operations, which not only include physical infrastructure, but user activities and applications are also on top. While security, as we know, the core of IT operations, and in the same manner, high availability, fault tolerance in all aspects are really important. But one thing which we need to understand, or you can say which we must need to be considered, and fundamental part of today's IT operation is disaster recovery planning, designing, and implementation. So here you go with this important domain during this journey, where we will discuss, learn, design, and implement disaster recovery plan for our valuable customer and employer as well. During all these learning episodes, we will get skills how to design disaster recovery plan for on-premise data center to Azure migration. Disaster recovery design is an art form, but we will get you started with the basics. So let's go with this combat first step. Well, what are the major key takeaways for this learning series? So the idea is really simple. We have two major domains or two major areas. The first one is concepts and the second one is skills. So we will get detailed concepts about migration. We will get idea about the disaster recovery planning, designing, and implementation. And in the second level, we will definitely learn those skills which require to migrate or design your disaster recovery for your on-premise data center. So when we talk about the tools and technologies related to on-premise data center migration towards Microsoft Azure, so we have two major options. The first one is Azure Migrate, while the second one is Azure Site Recovery. So during this series, we will explore these two options. When we're done with the basic ideas, so we will get detailed information about the prerequisites, or what are the prerequisites for the implementation of Azure Site Recovery. And then we will move and explore two major areas. The first one is on-premise infrastructure, and the second one is Microsoft Azure. So we are going to design our on-premise data center to migrate all VMs on Microsoft Azure. So it means that we need to perform number of tasks on our on-premise infrastructure, and in the same manner we require some of tasks to perform on Microsoft Azure platform. So we will explore both infrastructure and see what kind of task we need to perform before migration. When we deploy all kinds of tools and migration strategies during this training series, so we will definitely replicate our on-premise infrastructure on Microsoft Azure and see how this replication works when we done with the all deployment task. When we done with the replication activities, so definitely our all VMs will be replicated on Microsoft Azure, and after that we will test the failover scenario in case if our on-premise data center is went down due to any reason. So in this case, how this test failover will work for us. So that is the whole idea for this training series, and at last we will definitely summarize what we learn during the concepts and what we learn about you can say on the skills side. So let's move with the this productive learning series on the platform of Microsoft Azure, which will completely cover how you can replicate your on-premise infrastructure towards Microsoft Azure. So let's move now. Well, before cloud computing technology, disaster recovery planning, designing, and implementation is very complicated task. Let's suppose data center went down due to any security incident. It might be hacker attacked and locked your all infrastructure and applications. Or you can consider due to DDoS attack, all IT applications and services are freaking, or sometime due to natural disaster, whole data center is destroyed. So in all these scenarios, we need a site B, which is generally copy, or you can say replica of your site A data center by all means. But unfortunately, this scenario is very expensive. As we discuss, we need a same copy of data center, which means you need to deploy same compute, storage, network, and security equipment over there. And after this, operational cost is an other drastic issue. Generally, enterprise level organizations follow this scenario for sake of their financial benefits and credibility, as well to compete their market competitors. But for all organizations, this solution was not cost effective. Now, in today era, we have cloud computing technology, so we can tackle all these issues by utilizing this technology and prepare our site B with very limited budget and cost effective manner, because all know that we all know that cloud computing follow pay as you go model, which is cost effective. One more important thing is that this technology provide orchestrated model for replication, so operational cost is also very minimal. In this regard, Azure offer two major tools for this purpose. The first one is Azure Migrate, while at number two we have Azure Site Recovery, which is known as ASR. In coming episodes, we will get detailed concepts about these two major tools on the platform of Microsoft Azure. So let's move with the next episode. Now, in this episode, we will take a look at migration and disaster recovery options. Basically, disaster recovery is the plan and processes for quickly re-establishing access to data, applications, services, and all IT resources after an outage or disaster. Your disaster recovery plan may involve switching over to a redundant set of compute, storage, network, firewall, and all hardware appliances and logical part which contain services, applications, and operating system until your primary data center is functional again. For example, an important consideration for all recovery solution is not just the depth and completeness of your backup, but prime target for you to minimize downtime to facilitate your customers and clients. Because every minute your servers are down is a big financial loss. There are different deployment options for these solutions, such as you can say cloud based and on premise environment, or a combination of both. Depending on the option you choose, you will have several alternatives for technologies and processes you can employ for backup and disaster recovery, including traditional NAS, a snapshot based replication, or you can say continuous replication. A well implemented disaster recovery solution will help your business maintain continuity and avoid downtime. A backup and disaster recovery solutions ensures that an organization can easily get back on their feet after any kind of disaster without experiencing any hiccups in service or financial losses. Another benefit is the perception of credibility. Experiencing downtime can create long term negative effects on an organization reputation. Not only that, but service interruptions can also create compliance hurdles. Legal issues may raise from a data loss or downtime. So, mitigating this risk is worth the time and effort needed to implement a robust disaster recovery solution. Now, in this regard, when we talk about the applications or the solutions on the platform of Microsoft Azure, so basically we have two options. One is completely dedicated for migration purposes, which is Azure Migrate, while the second one is completely dedicated for disaster recovery planning, designing, and implementation. So let's move and discover what kind of options available when we talk about the Azure Migrate. Then we will go and design, implement, and see lots of demos for ASR, which is Azure Site Recovery Tool, which is completely designed for disaster recovery solutions. So let's move and explore Azure Migrate. Hello and welcome to all of you on my productive and skill oriented platform. In this episode, we are going to discuss about Azure Migrate. Generally, when we talk about on-premise data center, so we have two major issues. The first one is implementation cost, or you can say budget, which is very high. And second thing is operational cost, which also require a huge amount of budget. So when you implement your data center, it's not a one-time implementation cost, but after 2 or 3 years, you need to upgrade your compute resources, your network, your storage, and your security appliances as well to meet your customer requirements, to meet your business needs and your application requirements as well. So in the current era, we have cloud solutions which are very less expensive. So if any organizations don't want to upgrade their on-premise data center and want to decommission their data centers, so in this case they need to migrate or move their virtual machines, their host machines, web apps, SQL databases, their ERP applications, and all kinds of resources inside the data center to Microsoft Azure. So for that purpose, Microsoft provide us a tremendous tool, which is Azure Migrate. Generally, Azure Migrate is working on the concept of lift and shift. So it will just collect your complete resources from your on-premise infrastructure and will migrate on Microsoft Azure. So this tool facilitate to assess, discover, and migrate your all resources inside your data center to Microsoft Azure. Here you can see inside the migration goals, Microsoft categorized the migration strategy into 5 major domains. So at level 1, if you want to migrate your on-premise servers, databases and web apps, so a collective centralized option is available for that purpose. And in the second option, if you have any kind of databases inside your on-premise data center, so you can utilize the second option for the purpose of migrating your databases. At level 3, consider that if you have virtual desktop infrastructure inside your on-premise data center, so and you want to migrate your VDI infrastructure to Microsoft Azure, so for that purpose we have VDI option available over here. At level 4, we have a web apps option available, with the help of which you can migrate your all kinds of apps which is related to the web. You can utilize this option. At last, we have data box option. This option is completely dedicated for end user data. So definitely inside the organization we have a number of departments and a number of peoples are working in any kind of organization, and they have their own official data. So we must have to be migrate that data to Microsoft Azure. So for that task, Microsoft design a migration goal which is called data box. So whenever we talk about the migration, so this tool is completely dedicated for the purpose of migration. And if you want to design, implement a disaster recovery plan, so for that purpose we have another tremendous tool, which is Azure Site Recovery. So in the next episode we will discuss about Azure Site Recovery. We will implement all options related to the disaster recovery planning, implementation and management. So let's move with the next episode and see what kind of tremendous options we have in ASR on the platform of Microsoft Azure.
If your organization or any customer running their IT data center with business critical applications, it might be e-commerce business, or you can say web hosting services, and any kind of online training and learning management system, or you can consider any other business entity without any disaster recovery plan, so their business is in danger whenever any kind of disaster occur. In this situation, they will lose their business and clients as well. So for smooth and uninterrupted business operations, they need a well-architected disaster recovery plan with minimum downtime to facilitate their customers and business as well. So in this scenario, if we go for secondary side option, it will be cost a lot for deployment and operation side as well. So for this purpose, Microsoft Azure provide a best and well orchestrated solution with minimum cost for both aspects, deployment and operations, which is Azure Site Recovery, also known as Recovery Services Vault. Now the question is, what is Azure Site Recovery? Basically, Azure Site Recovery, or ASR, is a disaster recovery solution offered by Microsoft Azure. It enables businesses to protect their critical workloads by replicating and recovering virtual machines, physical servers, and even entire data center to Azure as a secondary data center. ASR provides continuous replication of your applications and data to a secondary site, or you can say secondary data center, which ensures that your data and applications are safe in the event of any unexpected outage or disaster. It also provides automated recovery of workloads and applications with minimal disruption to business operations. ASR supports a range of scenarios, including disaster recovery for on-premise virtual machines and servers, and migration to Azure as well. It's easy to set up, configure, and can be managed through a single web-based portal. ASR also integrates with other Azure services such as Azure Backup and Azure Virtual Machines to provide a comprehensive disaster recovery solution for your businesses. Now we have the basic idea about ASR. So let's move with the real mission. Here you can see we have a primary data center with whole infrastructure, including business critical applications. So basically we have lots of stuff inside this data center. Here you can see we have virtual machines, our physical host, user data, application data, and business critical applications as well. And this data center provide all services 24 by 7. So in any kind of disaster, if this data center went down, so we will be in trouble. So consider that right now this data center is working as a primary data center, or you can say site A data center. So we are trying to design a kind of DR plan which is very cost effective, and we require less effort to manage and operate that DR infrastructure as well. So for that purpose, we already dismiss our secondary site option because when we think about the secondary data center implementation, so it will cost a lot. So for that purpose, we are going to utilize Microsoft Azure Site Recovery Services as a DR service to create a clone or a complete replicated data center on Microsoft Azure. So whenever we're done with our implementation tasks related to the DR implementation, so this data center will be completely cloned to Microsoft Azure Site Recovery. So this scenario known as hybrid model, where you are using your on-premise data center in normal circumstances, and if anything went wrong, you can shift your on-premise data center to cloud services, which is on the platform of Microsoft Azure. So here we have Azure Site Recovery Services overview. As we discussed that on a single web portal, we can easily manage all kinds of implementations, operations, and security related tasks on Microsoft Azure. So let's understand what kind of options available when we are trying to create our clone data center on Microsoft Azure. So for that purpose, Microsoft have 4 major options. Here you can see the first one is Azure Virtual Machines. So if your data center is already on Microsoft Azure infrastructure and you want to create a replica for those infrastructures, so you can utilize this service. So Azure Virtual Machines is completely designed for Azure to Azure solutions. In this case, your whole infrastructure is running on Microsoft Azure. On the second option, here you can see if you have on-premise data center on the platform of VMware and physical machines exist or physical host exist in your on-premise data center, so you can create a clone of this kind of data center on Microsoft Azure. So Microsoft is not offer Azure Site Recovery Services only for Microsoft services or Microsoft oriented data centers, but it also supports VMware platform as well. And 2 other options are completely designed for Microsoft oriented data center. Here you can see the third option is System Center Virtual Machine Manager, where you can replicate your complete data center to Microsoft Azure. And if you don't have any virtual machine manager services inside your data center, so here we have Hyper-V site. So if inside your data center all hosts running Hyper-V services as a hypervisor, so you can also replicate and clone that physical host and their virtual machines on the platform of Microsoft Azure Site Recovery Infrastructure. So now you have a better idea what kind of facilities and what kind of options available inside this DR plan. So let's move and see what cost need to be, you can say, bear if you want to go for Microsoft Azure Site Recovery implementation. So the cost is very, very minimal. Here you can see the pricing model. If you follow or if you can Google it, Azure Site Recovery pricing. So here you can see the cost is very minimal. Here you can see Azure Site Recovery to customer on site. So if you have your on-premise data center and you want to clone your virtual machines on Microsoft Azure, so per machine it will cost only $16. So if you have 10 machines, so you can only pay $160 to create a clone infrastructure on Microsoft Azure. And the good thing is that your first 30 days will become 31 days will be completely free. And if you are on the Microsoft Azure platform and still you want to create a clone infrastructure for your Azure infrastructure, so it will cost $25 per month for each virtual machine. So it means that it's a very low cost DR plan which you can implement for your whole data center implementation. So let's move and start deployment with Azure Site Recovery. So let's move with the next episodes. So let's move with the deployment phase. So when we talk about the deployment scenario, so we must have to be understand that we have two major areas where we need to take steps to complete this disaster recovery plan implementation. So the first area is on-premise data center. Definitely we need to perform some kind of steps on our on-premise data center, after which our data center will be capable to replicate on Microsoft Azure platform. And the second domain is definitely Microsoft Azure. So we need to perform some basic steps on Microsoft Azure, after which the Azure platform will be capable to discover our on-premise data center and will be capable to migrate all kinds of virtual machines, host, application, user data, and any other stuff which we want to clone on Microsoft Azure platform will be available after the these few basic steps. So here you can see we have Microsoft Azure platform over here, and here I can see recovery service vault option. If this option is not appear over here, so you can search from this search bar as well. And if you type Azure Site Recovery, so this option will be appear, and the second option is Recovery Service Vault. So what is Recovery Service Vault? Basically, Recovery Service Vault is a one window operation where you can perform all kinds of replication tasks, all kinds of DR tasks when you are working with Microsoft Azure platform. So here you can see we have two recovery service vaults already available. If you want to create a new one, so the option is really simple. Just click on the create button and window will be appear, and it will ask few basic questions about your subscription, about your resource group, and your security vault name as well. So I have a resource group with the name of eBase, and if you want to create a new resource group, so you can create with this option. Now type this name. So on-premise DC clone to ASR. Okay, and from the last option you can select your region as well. So click on review and create button over here. So I have done with the review and create option. Just click on the create button and it will create a new recovery service vault for you. So within a few seconds this option will be completed. Here you can see submitting deployment options, and here we go. Within a few clicks, we just create our recovery service vault on the platform of Microsoft Azure, and within a few seconds, this process will be completed. wait for the deployment is in progress option. So when Azure done with the basic deployments, so this on-premise DC uh, clone to ASR will be appear under the security under the recovery service vault option. So we are waiting for it, and here you can see wizard is running over here, deployment in progress. And when we're done with the deployment, so we will explore other options related to DR plan. So till this option is going to completed, let's visit our data center. So when I click on the data center option, here you can see I have 5 hosts available inside my data center, and all are running on the platform of Microsoft Hyper-V, and we have number of VMs on all hosts. So there are few hosts configured with my Azure platform, but we will start deployment from scratch. So you will get the basic idea how we can start from scratch and build a complete well orchestrated DR plan on the platform of Microsoft Azure. So as we done with the Azure Recovery Vault option, so definitely we will go on our host side and see what kind of options we can implement inside our host for the purpose of replication and cloning. So go to the resource button is available over here, and when I click on the go to resource button, here you can see on-premise DC clone to ASR created, and here you can see we have all options available related to our DR plan. Here you can see I have site recovery option, which we explored previously, and here we have Azure virtual machines, VMware machines, Hyper-V machines, which we can clone or we can replicate on the Microsoft Azure platform. And here we have other options available. Here you can see policies, recovery plans, site recovery infrastructure. So as I said that when we create a site recovery, so it's a one window operation from where we can operate all kinds of operations related to the DR plan. So we take our first step on Microsoft Azure. So let's move and see what kind of options we require to discover our on-premise data center on the platform of Microsoft Azure. When you're done with your first step on Microsoft Azure, so the next step is very simple. Here you can see I have on-premise DC clone to ASR site recovery vault. So as I move forward, here you can see I have site recovery infrastructure option. So now I'm going to configure all the implementation tasks related to the DR. So when I click on the site recovery infrastructure, so here I have multiple options as we discussed previously. So we are going to create a site on for Hyper-V host. So for that purpose, I just need to create Hyper-V site, because as we explore that our data center is on the platform of Microsoft Hyper-V. So that's why if you have any other platform like VMware or virtual machine manager or Azure virtual machine, so you can utilize other 3 options which mentioned over here. So I just need to click on the Hyper-V sites. Here you can see no Hyper-V sites have been added, so I need to create the new one. So when I click on the Hyper-V site, so I said that DC clone site. So the option will be really simple. So within a few clicks, this site will be created, and after the creation of this Hyper-V site, we will be able to add our host machines from our on-premise data center on the platform of Microsoft Azure. So when I click on the refresh button over here, so here you can see DC clone site is created, and if I explore further here, Hyper-V host, number of Hyper-V hosts are 0. protected VMs are 0. So let's move and see how we can add our Hyper-V host. So if I explore the site recovery infrastructure, so I previously implemented here recovery service vault option. So here I have EBIS vault option, and here if I move forward, so under the site recovery infrastructure options, when I click on the Hyper-V site button, so here you can see in the same manner, I have an other site is available with the name of Claxton, and this site have 3 hosts and 16 protected VMs available. So as we move forward, definitely we can add number of hosts to our recovery service vault option. So let's move and see how we can add our on-premise host machine to Microsoft Azure platform. So let's move with the deployment phase. So when we talk about the deployment scenario, so we must have to be understand that we have 2 major areas where we need to take steps to complete this disaster recovery plan implementation. So the first area is on-premise data center. Definitely we need to perform some kind of steps on our on-premise data center, after which our data center will be capable to replicate on Microsoft Azure platform. And the second domain is definitely Microsoft Azure. So we need to perform some basic steps on Microsoft Azure, after which the Azure platform will be capable to discover our on-premise data center and will be capable to migrate all kinds of virtual machines, host, application, user data, and any other stuff which we want to clone on Microsoft Azure platform will be available after the these few basic steps. So here you can see we have Microsoft Azure platform over here, and here I can see recovery service vault option. If this option is not appear over here, so you can search from this search bar as well, and if you type Azure site recovery, so this option will be appear, and the second option is recovery service vault. So what is recovery service vault? Basically, recovery service vault is a one window operation where you can perform all kinds of replication tasks, all kinds of DR tasks when you are working with Microsoft Azure platform. So here you can see we have 2 recovery service vaults already available. If you want to create a new one, so the option is really simple. Just click on the create button, and window will be appear, and it will ask few basic questions about your subscription, about your resource group, and your security vault name as well. So I have a resource group with the name of eBase, and if you want to create a new resource group, so you can create with this option. Now type this name. So on-premise DC clone to ASR. Okay, and from the last option you can select your region as well. So click on review and create button over here. So I have done with the review and create option. Just click on the create button, and it will create a new recovery service vault for you. So within a few seconds this option will be completed. Here you can see submitting deployment options, and here we go. Within a few clicks, we just create our recovery service vault on the platform of Microsoft Azure, and within a few seconds this process will be completed. Wait for the deployment is in progress option. So when Azure done with the basic deployments, so this on-premise DC clone to ASR will be appear under the security under the recovery service vault option. So we are waiting for it, and here you can see wizard is running over here, deployment in progress. And when we're done with the deployment, so we will explore other options related to DR plan. So till this option is going to completed, let's visit our data center. So when I click on the data center option, here you can see I have 5 hosts available inside my data center, and all are running on the platform of Microsoft Hyper-V, and we have number of VMs on all hosts. So there are few hosts configured with my Azure platform, but we will start deployment from scratch. So you will get the basic idea how we can start from scratch and build a complete well orchestrated DR plan on the platform of Microsoft Azure. So as we done with the Azure Recovery Vault option, so definitely we will go on our host side and see what kind of options we can implement inside our host for the purpose of replication and cloning. So go to the resource button is available over here, and when I click on the go to resource button, here you can see on premise DC clone to ASR created, and here you can see we have all options available related to our DR plan. Here you can see I have site recovery option, which we explored previously, and here we have Azure virtual machines, VMware machines, Hyper-V machines, which we can clone or we can replicate on the Microsoft Azure platform. And here we have other options available. Here you can see policies, recovery plans, site recovery infrastructure. So as I said that when we create a site recovery, so it's a one window operation from where we can operate all kinds of operations related to the DR plan. So we take our first step on Microsoft Azure. So let's move and see what kind of options we require to discover our on-premise data center on the platform of Microsoft Azure. Now, the good thing is that we have done with our basic steps related with the implementation of DR, and we perform some steps on Microsoft Azure ASR, and then we perform some basic steps on our on-premise host infrastructure. So when we done with our fundamental implementation, so here you can see now ASR is capable to discover our newly host, which is node 1, and this host machine you can verify from here as well. Here you can see Hyper-V manager service is running on my host machine, which name is node 1, and here you can see I have lots of VMs running on this host infrastructure as well. So it means that now my ASR infrastructure is capable to discover all VMs inside the node 1. If you want to verify that the node 1 VMs are discoverable, so for that purpose we need to move with the replicated items infrastructure. So when you click on the recovery services vault, you just need to click on the replicated items. Here you can see lots of VMs already replicated, which we implemented previously, and status is protected and healthy is also showing over here. If you want to replicate any new VM from your existing infrastructure, which is inside your on-premise data center, so the process is really simple. You just need to click on the replicate button over here. Here you can see, so from the drop down list you can see we have 4 major options which we previously discussed. So I just need to replicate Hyper-V virtual machine over here. So just click Hyper-V to Azure. So here you can see my site is already exist over here, which is Claxton. So I just need to click on the next button. When I click on the next button, so it come up with the default options, how we are going to implement and what kind of subscription I have and what kind of resource group I have over here. And in the same manner, I need to select the virtual network, because you know that right now we are going to connect to two infrastructure. The one is our secondary data center, which is ASR, Microsoft ASR, and our site one data center, which is our on-premise data center. So we have two sites, site one and site two. So these two sites must have to be connect with each other, and for that purpose we need a virtual network. So I've already created CLX MIG virtual network over here. So you can create, although right now it's beyond the scope of this journey that we are going to discuss about how we can create the virtual network. Although I'll upload a document related to the implementation of virtual network. With the help of with the help of that document, you can easily create your virtual network infrastructure as well. And if you want to explore all kinds of fundamental concepts, so here I have my free course available on the Udemy, from where you can get all the fundamental informations from concepts to skills with this course as well. So let's move. I select the virtual network over here and the subnet for that virtual network as well, and click on the next button. When I click on the next button, here you can see a number of VMs appear over here. So if I want to just verify that our node 1 VMs are available over here or not, so for that purpose I just need to click CA VM over here. So here you can see EB's CA 2012 R2 VM is discoverable. So if you want to verify that VM, so here you can see EB's CA 2012 VM is available over here. So it means that now our environment is working properly and we can discover all virtual machines from our node 1 host to ASR as well. So in the coming episodes, we are going to replicate a single machine as a demo purpose from our node 1 to Microsoft ASR infrastructure, and see how these disaster recovery implementation is working when we move forward with this journey. So let's move with the next episode. So now in this episode, we are going to replicate one of our VMs as a demo purpose from our node 1 host machine. So let's begin with the implementation. So for that purpose, I need to click on the replicate button over here, and I need to select Hyper-V machines to Azure, as I'm going to move my I'm going to replicate my Hyper-V VM to Azure. So I click on the third option and I select my site location over here and click on the next button. So here I'm going with the default options. As I discussed, I have already created virtual network over here, and same resource group configure is selected, which we configure previously. So click on the next button. And when we click, I just need to type the name of that VM which I want to replicate on ASR infrastructure. So I'm going to replicate this VM. So I select it and click on the next button. And here you can see I need to select some options before the replication of this selected VM. So here OS type. So when I click on the drop down list, I need to select the Windows. If you have Linux VM, so definitely you will go with the Linux option as well. And here you can see I have manage disk option. So as per your own requirements, you need to select premium SSD, standard SSD, or standard HDD. So I'm going with the standard HDD option. And here storage account, because definitely this VM will be stored on my storage account, so I need to select that one as well. So I'm going to select the eBiz SADB, which is my storage account which previously created. Although these storage account creation is beyond the scope of this course, but still I'll attach the document. With the help of that document, you can easily create your storage account as well. So here now I'm going to change this VM name, and it will be a short name EVCA 2012, or I can type a new name if I want to change the existing name as well. So few options which require over here I have done with all the options. Now I need to click on the next button. When I click on the next button, here is the important thing where you need to create the where you need to select the replication policy. Here I have a replication policy already created. In the coming episode, I will show you how you can create your own replication policy as per your customer requirement, as per your VM requirement, or as per your organization requirement as well. Right now, the policy which I am going to utilize for the purpose of replication with this VM is like you can see, copy frequency is 5 minutes. So within 300 seconds, this VM will be automatically replicated to my ASR infrastructure. If any kind of change occur on my on-premise virtual machine, so these all kinds of changes will be automatically replicated within 5 minutes. And recovery point retention, how many points you want to retain as per your own requirements. It might be you can contain 3 replication options, 5 replication options, or as per your own recommended settings, you can go with all these options. So I just select 3 hours. You can maintain my retention point for 3 hours, and after 3 hours this retention point will be automatically deleted. So just need to click on the next button, and here you can see now all the required options have been successfully completed. So you want to enable the replication, just click on the enable replication button, and if you want to change anything, you can go previous as well. So I'm just going to click on the enable replication button over here, and here you can see process initiated. When I click on the replication process, here you can see enable replication. All the information is going with the simple steps, and now prerequisites check for enabling the protection is went successfully. Now other processes are ongoing, and as we done with the all processes successfully, then definitely our selected VM will be start replication to Microsoft Azure. So I'm going to pause the video, and when this process completed, I will show you the next option, how we can verify this replication process as well. Now you can see that all steps are verified successfully and this process initiated. And here, if you want to see the message here, successfully completed the operation. So now this VM started replication. So we can also verify from our security vault as well. Let's move with the host configuration and see is there any changes occur over here. Here you can see when I click on the EBCA machine, so it's replication, enable replication. Here we go. It means that the process is initiated, and if I click on this VM, and here you can see if I want to view replication health, so here you can see all things are going well, and size of data yet to be replicated is almost 53.43 GB. So in the coming episodes, when this machine is completely replicated, we will verify on our host machine, and definitely on ASR infrastructure as well. So let's move with the next episode. Welcome to all of you on my productive and skill oriented platform. So here you can see previously we configure the replication options for virtual machine replication, and now here you can see EBIS 2012 VM is in process of replication, and now it's 10% synchronized. So it will take a little while, almost a half an hour will require for complete replication of this VM. Basically, it depends on the size of the VM. It's less in size. It's almost 127 GB. So the size of the disk or size of the VM is completely dependent on the process of replication time as well. So let's move and verify from the replication health. Here you can see if I click again on the replication health over here, previously we have different results. Now it's 10% completed. And if we move here, now here you can see last time it's almost 53 point something GB, and now it's 48 GB remaining. So it's ongoing process, and as done, we will definitely check all the parameters after the successful replication of this VM in the coming episodes. And here you can see initial replication initiated time is mentioned over here, and when it's done, here you can see sending initial replication status, it's now 12%. So it's ongoing process, and soon when it's completed, we will definitely verify from our ASR portal as well. Welcome to all of you on my productive and skill oriented platform. So now the replication process is completed, and we have a clone VM on our Azure ASR infrastructure, and you can verify this clone VM from here. Now you can see that previously the status was a replication health related to the replication health. Now it's a completely healthy VM showing over ASR infrastructure, and here you can see now it's protected, which means that now if a kind of a situation where your host went down, or your host machine got crashed, or due to any physical error your machine went down, so this machine is protected and healthy, and you can run this machine from here as well. So when I click on the health status from here, so here you can see that uh, 13 seconds ago this machine is replicated with our on-premise infrastructure. And if you want to check with the latest recovery points, so click on it, and here you can see it will show all the time variables on behalf of which this machine is replicated with ASR infrastructure. So here you can see by default we selected the 5 minutes time. It means that 300 seconds. So this time duration can be verified from here as well. So after every 5 minutes, if any kind of change occur, so this change will be replicated with ASR VM as well. And if no changes occur inside the on-premise data center VM, so it will just check the connectivity status or heartbeat status, and all things will remain same, because every time if this VM got synced, so it will definitely require a high bandwidth amount. So for the first time when you start the replication, the whole machine is replicated. But after the completion of the first complete replication, then the minor changes or the major changes will be replicated to ASR VM. And if any change did not occur on the on-premise infrastructure, so all things will remain same. And here if we can verify further all the connectivity options, now here you can see Hyper-V virtual machines, the Claxton site is completely connected with the Azure site recovery and storage account. So here is my on-premise infrastructure, and here is my ASR infrastructure, where all my VM is replicated and synced in a proper manner. So now verify from the host side. So when I click on the host machine, here I have my Hyper-V host node 1 machine. So when I click on the replication health, so here you can see I can pause the replication, or if I can view the replication health, it will show that all things are going well. Now here you can see the replication health is normal. Current replication server Microsoft Azure, which means that now we have a secondary data center, or we have a secondary site which is Microsoft Azure or a cloud platform. And here you can see now the size of the data yet to be replicated is 16 MB. So it's showing the successful replication cycles. 4 out of 4 went completely successfully. And here you can see maximum size is 127 GB. So it means that all kinds of implementation which we done on the ASR side or which we done on the on-premise infrastructure all went well, because due to all these implementations, now our VM is replicating to Microsoft ASR infrastructure. So in the coming episode, we are going to down this VM on our on-premise infrastructure and start running this VM which is replicated on Microsoft ASR infrastructure. So we will see that the same components, the same applications, the same configurations will be up and running smoothly on Microsoft Azure infrastructure. So we will verify this virtual machine replication in the coming episode. So let's move with the next episode.